giro è.
Did it?
Ah.
Oh, that's not
Yeah, direi.
automatic.
Good morning, everyone. Especially all those people out there in Zoom land. We'll begin by opening your prayer book to page 1. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas and Dakinis and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Sangye gyabse jewo, dambe joy nonglai gyabse jewo, bagpe andoi jejon zome, zoi yeshe je jendai demba nonglai gyabse jewo. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all Mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all reality without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. Samye Gude Bunje Mise Chungze Angona Malu Jishen Jenjurbe Chungde Koje Neden Jesus Orban Pade Pushke Dube Aloki Gande Neve Shabda Pade Soha. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Okay, and then turn to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Travasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground bases for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone, the pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate. And then turn to page 9. To page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who, passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond detachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And to page 14.
tam chi jawa ta ke kong war mo te da ma ba me ze jan so na yang che yang la jan so da ke je jawa kun je yon ten ma ju chen de wa shi kwa tam che da ke do nga me do tam pa chen wa tam pa tam sin ye nam da chu pa tun chu da amar me chu da tu po tam pa ye ya wa te da da ne chu pa je
nam za
tam pa nam da chen chu da ma pur me re ra nyam ba ta ko ba che ba ba ben chu gen je ya wa de da la yan chu ba je en chu ba kan na la me ja je wa de da ja wa tam che la ya mo sa sa po chu la te be do da ki ja wa kun la chang se chu ba je en do cha che da te mo wang ge ne le da da de xin yi je jiang de ba da ge je ba je ba te da tam che da ge so so ya cho ju ya wa gun da san je ze na ja na da lo da me lo da na gun je son na kan la ya te da gun je je se da ye da kan na cho je je do ma da chan cho ren ba san je ma cha yin dong bo de da ta ge tam je la ko lo la na me ba ko wa ge yang je da dong ga ye de da la xin de ve che ge wa xin ge ge ne shu pa ya da ge tian mo ra ja so wa ye chang se wa da ju jin xiao ba da ye zu ye ran ge jin so wa ye wa jung se da ge che za ba tam che zo be chang ju chen mo.
To page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Tam je se ba kun chen chu je je, nyam me de gun ren chen ku jo. Sembrando vadam jinde ye she no more ya la ye ge don do je ge don do mi ge nam ne do ge je da ge je don bo dam je ge do ge ju de do. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Tinidanga to so now we finish sort of put together completely and the karma cause effect. So Virginia worked very hard. So even the last night, for night, she just
My
put together.
apologies for the constant last-minute submission of materials. But
Anyway,
it's a lot
so
of work.
we really now all put together today, and also so I think good time. So we start today.
Mm-hmm. So this is the full kind of packet. What you have now is the packet for reflection for retreat. So we do the retreat now, and then following the retreat, I decided to wait on doing the guidelines, meaning dividing up how much time we spend on each reflection, because I wasn't sure how Drupon Rinpoche was going to want to structure it. So we, based on how we structure it and during this retreat, then I can follow up with materials for your personal retreat in terms of how to divide your reflections through the course of your sessions.
That that kind of consumption tea yours.
So with karma, cause, and effect, you'll notice that there's more substance there. There's more on the topic of karma, cause, and effect in terms of the reflections, and there are in the other reflections or forethoughts that turn the mind.
Tinita zo karsenanga zondi lende jibo mare da chu thambo de karsenanga zote zongdo toba said. Be massive ke chembores.
But this is really important, to spend time really considering the details, especially with karma, cause, and effect, but in general, not just with karma, cause, and effect. The hearing or study part of our path is very important.
Tinitiga no yikita karsegore benata nga gomba yedanro na tsek reshin de bedata lo semne tike tonda kandri imba chikta tindi ke be huge kitene lobjong chi gogores.
So like in a traditional place of monastic training or learning, a shedra, so there's a lot of emphasis put on memorization. So actually, like every single word, every single line is memorized. And so within that, there's a deep reflection that happens.
Da tindi je ke da tanda nga zo yinbi na yang tindi je na go yore da tanda inchin da wina da jeta inchi ki gang yoro wa. Chirang so re hin de karela gudo di tonda kari yinba dang ya tella chirang so tanda di tsek so o inchi ki tsek o de ya yin do samban raw yuna Virginia la tang nga so di conversation chi tanda di karsena nga so kar yarbu ke kar statement do tini marwa tini
아주 다동들이 야 인지강이 야 당고고 요래 sentences the 야 당고고 요래 레카 뭐지 요래스.
So, and you know what these materials are provided for you in English, and also it's a work in progress, and you know this is an initial draft. So you know he actually hopes that you'll read through this and like really like consider it word for word, and also offer your input. So you know we composed this together, Drupon and I, or Virginia and I, and we would like your feedback. So you know it isn't like just like a king's you know statement or something, but it's a work in progress, and so anything that you think could be adjusted, could be made clearer, especially you know in terms of the English language, you know better phrasing, and such. You know, please, we welcome your feedback. Because we would like to really create something that's really, you know, solid in the long time and possibly create a book.
That he carson understanding the massive kitchen bodies. Tindutine, Benacha and Ocha Shavina, Jingas of Vinaya, da monk scenery, telecarriers, no, co Jango detail Bena. Tagalogdo, tene, Nijanga Chukita, Chico, Yorwa, Monk Dombasunya, or the so in a t-shirt Jango Yores.
So, also, you know, one thing to understand is that, you know, there is a lot of what we find in the Dharma, especially in terms of discipline, is centered around the Vinaya, which it comes directly from the Buddha, but which is a manual for monastics. So a lot of that is, you know, for the monastics have to really study the Vinaya, and you know, for monks there are like 250 vows that are to be kept. 200. What's that? 53, thank you. 253 that have to be understood well and maintained.
The tea in the kitchen book carry your sena, ha kovina, Jajatambalako, Nijanga Chuke, Nachasum Kita, tamed, Kosong to be at a caborwa. Yin a young, that tea nala, Atene, Chick, Song Toba Cardo, Matoba ina, Yapapuya Yoro. Tarongi Tringa, the song Thomas or in a Mambala song to be in somebody kitchen, the couple grass, you know, Yorwa, the kitchen bodies. Tigana Yitang, a son de la Carsana, make it juteta on it, Zawari, Venayana, Zawari, not so dark, a lay partitionati, that bet Zawaro, the Chadiore. Tindu, Dinali, Geva Carindo, Geva Dovia Carindo, make a paya Carindo. Detail ha kovina teninga to ta area ro yungruwa o ta chuchi chuchang ha kogruwa yina yang tandan dilenga to la xaji chama to pe chama chang ta de le pe megewa chama pan gewa chama drop se adi ko yung to ya yo mares
Gare dinanga.
o benanga to megewa chama pan Dina Jibo Marita, not to be given some pan, give out some drop say out, and Dina Tisha Jordan, Dilima Yorwa, Pemmo Yore, Tend to me, Koyung to Yayomaris.
And so, you know, it's really like important to understand, you know, the 100. So, for instance, for monastics, keeping the Vinaya, to keep all of the vows, you know, 100% perfectly, like all 253 vows, of course, it's very difficult. It involves a lot of really, you know, kind of seemingly small details, you know, a lot of details, difficult to maintain. So, you know, and in general, you know, with maintaining ethical conduct, to be very detailed and perfect in our conduct is difficult. But so we can't keep everything, like all the vows or all the guidelines to live by. However, what we can't maintain, we recognize, we acknowledge when there's some breach or downfall, and then we work to confess, purify, and do better. So it's a progress, it's or it's a process, and we should hopefully be seeing that, we're making progress little by little. But one very important thing is that of all the different types of discipline or pure conduct, whether Vinaya, whether in the context of Vinaya or holding monastic vows, or as a lay practitioner, they all really come down to the fundamental basis of practicing the 10 virtues and abandoning the 10 non-virtues. And so when we really have a very deep understanding of these, and we live our life according to these, then that, even though there's so much more than that, in terms of like all the monastic vows, there's so much more than that in terms of, different ways in which we can accumulate virtue, in which we can accumulate non-virtue. This is kind of the foundation that all of those other, like all of the endless forms arise from, or sort of branch off from. So when, we may not be able to completely, avoid all and each and every possibility of wrongdoing or non-virtue, and practice each and every possibility of virtue, but we have kind of a limit and a fundamental understanding that helps us to accumulate more and more merit and to avoid more and more negativity.
Thinley 제가 나기 대송그래더니 맞죠 케페게 닉파사미나 양보레스 데 룸부케 닉파사미나 베지고 차오레 송레.
So it is said that, and kind of a little tongue in cheek, but a smart person knows how.
Maybe understanding, not smart. I don't know.
A skillful person.
Or maybe understanding the Dharma, right? Or,
And meaning somebody who understands the Dharma well, kepe, which means somebody who's learned or smart or skilled. Is kepe dikbasaya? Dikbasana yambo.
Yangbo yangi ores.
Lumbo.
Lumbo ha mao waje dikbasana tene bejigo so chanu res.
So for a learned person, they're better at accumulating lighter negativity, and for a kind of stupid person or somebody who's not very learned,
maybe don't understand it.
they are better at they accumulate heavy negativity.
Maybe size P.
So for instance, if you have a little ball that's a metal ball that's the size of a pea, and you drop that in the water, it just sinks to the bottom. And that's like the stupid person's negativity. But a learned person, an intelligent person, their negativity might be really heavy. It might be like 10 kilos of metal, but it's hammered out into a flat sheet. And then if you put that flat sheet on the water, it doesn't sink. So even though there might be the same karmic accumulation for somebody who's wise, it doesn't bring them, and it couldn't be even more, but it doesn't.
One piece of pea size.
You know, because you're comparing like the size of a pea to the size of 10 kilos of metal. So the learned person, even if they accumulate 10 kilos of metal, it doesn't, because they have methods, because they are wise, it doesn't drag them into the lower realms.
Reason person dikpa da yore tina ya kepa ina dikpe nyembo ten tobya maung bala dikpa pan tobya tene sa sha jo ke dikpa tala tene ya tobya tene yung yore es.
Because an intelligent person or a wise person, they know how to rely on antidotes. They know how to counteract that negativity. They know how to purify that negativity. They know how to, the practices of confession and so forth. So there is the capability for them to counteract its karmic weight.
Tine pena cha shavina ngaso malari patawri malari pe musi toja tini chi yore tina ya koran ki dikpa sa dikpa chang koran ya sanje kompo top yorwa oda tini dikpa chembo yuna ko ya to ya yore ko ma ngyen song song ro tu ro yo mare te mando be tsala koran sanje yorwa.
So we just need, like taking the example of Milarepa, for instance, how much negativity Milarepa accumulated. At first, he was really angry. He put a lot into studying black magic. He really harmed a lot of people through sorcery and black magic, killed people. Definitely there was karma there to bring him to the lower realms, but he instead ended up fully purifying all that negativity and completely awakening to Buddhahood.
Ta nga to di pecha ha mago wena chung chung do samo tang go do ben nga to chung chung ben order chadar do yang mena khanza jig la be de ta karsan nga to korwa ta baro ko du bure singa ha khog marwa me shimba jig la ko thanda me be ke ga la tene nga to kecha la na tene ha karsan ti ha mago na ta dikpare sam gamaro da ti ko normal re ke me do sam na Tindri ke khans roa penanga so thonda maybe ke pena mujigla tene ko modubore ko yabo mare dawala bina ko dugo membina thi kendrevete ko nyason ro sigres ina part the hansa chungchung ro not big deal ro o tindi samno khugyo maro da de ke mendo da des dikwa yimba ko ngo ma hena ta nga son dina detail kari ba ha ko na tene o tata dikpareha tata dikpa chimbondo sam tene nga to tappa tene majiya katapna tene paya katapna yaya katap chigi ora tene imbi jumsendel ne ta nga tsunde pe masi ke chimbores.
So on the other hand, someone who is not learned or not wise, they can engage in negativity that's really seemingly insignificant, even something as insignificant as idle chatter, something that really isn't, like criticizing somebody else, something that's not really that big deal, seemingly. And they, for them it's just normal. They maybe don't even recognize it as a negativity or that there's anything wrong there. They don't see that there's any consequence. And so then they accumulate a whole lot of small negativities, thinking, not even really recognizing them as negativities, not thinking that there's any problem with it, just considering it as normal. And they don't give it a second thought, but they're just accumulating all this negativity through, all sorts of different things. Like, for instance, even if they just sort of slander someone or say, oh, that person's really bad, and spread bad rumors about them, and then that person isn't actually bad, and it was unwarranted, and then they and then that seemingly small thing can become something that snowballs and ends up causing them to take rebirth in the 3 lower realms. And because whereas somebody who is wise, there's this constant checking of the doors of body, speech, and mind. And so maybe we make a mistake, we say something negative about someone, but we feel bad, we realize that wasn't right, and then we want to purify that, we want to correct that, and there's an effort made to correct it, and so therefore it can be purified. It doesn't end up snowballing into greater and greater non-virtue.
제가 나기다 가서 배차 단단하고 임비나 배차 요리 뒤는다 배차디 ben online ro imbina ya chang so ta ti chi khar sa ngo so screen share ji bo ma yin ba pe cha tela print che tene tela ko ji ngo so thing ma ji lo ba ten de ma yin ba yang na yang de pe cha tela yang za chen bo che ro wa sang ji ki song cha de yo re tin de ti za chen bo chi tela respect chi tela ma so ta pe dis jang lo Thinley China, then I got to Julian Jatop Grova, in our thing magic, got to Lovina, this Kaborova, Tin the Jim Central, got to contemplation, got each these Gomiatita Tires.
So, for those of you who have the handout, it's being screen shared online, you should have received a copy yourself. Please, don't just kind of leave it, for this retreat, but print it out. And really, spend some time with it. Don't just read it once. Read it a number of times, and have a special respect for it. Don't kind of discard it somewhere or leave it lying on the floor. But recognize that the teachings of the Buddha are contained within this, and really let it penetrate your mind state, your mind stream. Cherish it. Read it again and again, and allow it to become a valuable source of contemplation for you.
Then that and then got to check resource this lela or that Yamandowina that lela or your mares to do better gombori, show gombori, Yimbi ya tea to la Ben Missy Kita Carsegore, Drosson Tang, Lecale. Ben short as a candiga bosodo. Short as in a house, sugar, or sugar. Ben a lot don't run on a kind of rindoya major, so we are.
Ding song.
Things on cow, what is things on?
Oh.
Things on low don't talk more than the low yatam.
Oh, so, yeah.
Near me show like, near me show in a show combore, in a Thinley ben, Drosson. Thinley ben Messi Wikita.
So, these days we're living in an interesting time with regard to the Dharma and Dharma scripture and information that we have access to a lot. It's very easy to get a hold of resources, and this is so different from how it was in the past. It used to be really difficult to get a hold of texts. And really difficult to get paper. Paper was hard to come by. And so the value was really heightened. So texts were when there was paper that was produced, it was a very high quality paper that could last for thousands of years. Sometimes the writing was actually written in gold, and these texts were held as very, very valuable and really cherished, really seen as the treasures that they are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So interesting. So that ancient time we call Tedoa ngone shoktozola ta tanda pena kan ritu gumedo pena ko meta na hidama tsekendo peda waterproof da yoro waterproof moisture proof or Thinley chi bena sa wala tuhung ki icha Tisola ta pecha koran lo jara mambo koran be sawa le kana yang kaya mariwa tindi so gdo.
It's really interesting, you know, a lot, the paper, you know, of the past was really quite extraordinary, like, you know, couldn't tear, difficult to burn it, even if it's, you put it in the fire, it doesn't completely burn it, like waterproof, moisture proof. Some of these scriptures were hidden under the earth, you know, for over 1,000 years, and they were still very much intact when discovered. So, you know, it was a different quality paper. Yeah, like for instance, the example of the Donghuang caves, right? There were many scriptures that were found there. They were recently uncovered, you know, going all the way back to, you know, just almost around the time of the Buddha.
And then also maybe Nyedong or Paula, do you remember these texts? They made the letters very thick in the gold. Are you seeing the special monasteries? Not wood blocks. These are texts in the text special form. I think they show in the Drupon Gandhian monasteries, and the letter itself is like not a flat gold letter, like kind of solid, like 3D sort of like gold in the paper. You didn't see?
Well, I saw, maybe it didn't impress me as being that really thick, but gold, yeah, and I didn't see it as raised so much.
It is actually like you almost can hold like that, letters like kind of this kind of shape, you know. So how they make that time, I don't know. This. So during the Cultural Revolution, you know, so they got like skirt, you know, this gold. They got gold. So, but still, these old texts. I saw many, but these days showing or not, I don't know. People see that or go to monastery, the particular, you know, Sarah monastery and Drupon monastery. They actually like different page.
The front page.
Different page. Different page. Duke page at the Yorwa home.
Yeah, like I think the front, the front page, the cover page is like that.
So I think this is really degeneration time. So. So this paper, I don't know how lasts long. Actually, this Nyedong knows, right? So this, what is his name? The TMC make the shrine, this altar, old man.
The old man who made the altar at TMC.
Oh, I don't recall his name. Yeah, I remember him.
Right. So he did this prayer wheel in the Dharamsala. So like, or to put the mantras inside. And he told me 5 years later, all gone. Inside paper, no paper. Look like kind of black dust. 5 years, there maybe go in like a moisture, but there's no paper.
Well, paper these days is made, and it's acidic, and it'll disintegrate just sitting here on the desk. After a while, it just.
Can the people on Zoom hear what Nathan is saying? Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, please, they can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay. What I was saying was that most paper these days is made, and there's a level of acid that's in the paper, and it is just prone to yellowing and degrading, just over just short period of time. And, it attracts bugs, and the bugs eat the paper too and stuff. You have to, if you want to have preserve something, it's best to use something that's acid-free or museum archival quality. And you have to go to a special place to get that stuff, say an art supply store or some other place like that.
Yeah, also these days can make, technology can make, maybe can very last long, but purpose did not make, So even though we see technology, cell phones, they can make very last long, but
Constant.
maybe 2 years, 3 years, then
Yeah.
that's
well,
it.
Well, they want you to buy more.
Right, and then sometimes your car, I think it make very last long car, but maybe, I don't know, 10 years, then junk. So anyway, so that's, however, 당가서 this special 강의 요와테 단다 디스타 다고자 가서 태중도 가서 점루돈바 슈비가블라테네 다 점루 클럽자세야 데 케쳔보 칼세나 고 이게 찌요나 텔라 리스펙트 더 상제 송임바 텐디치나 다 녀마라오나 텐디치기도 이게 뚜직 베셀 수네페 텐디 빼다다 코란 닝기여보 야보 코란페 이게 찌글라 테네 찌 maybe one letter one letter like A and O 찌글 페체 찌치는 녀마 둔다 정고스기로와 야보 소야라 이나다티 팅상다고 이나다 가서 everybody busy I don't know a lot of distractions 티 페텐제 요머 임비네 양 가서 다 이게 또 디스타 할로야테 케침보 인사레스.
So I'm just going to say it's like so interesting that Drupon Rinpoche is going into this, because this morning when I made all these copies, not knowing how many people were going to be here, over printed, and I was thinking about, gosh, we give out these copies, and maybe some people even just throw them in the trash, like maybe new people or something, right? So it's interesting that he's focusing on this so much. So he said that, so with these handouts and in general the handouts that you receive, look at them, like really hold them special, cherish them, take care of them, and really, actually, it's said, when you take the vows of refuge, part of the commitment, one of the vows that we hold, is to treat any piece of Dharma as sacred. So even just a single line of the Buddha's speech, even just a little kind of like teared off piece of paper with letters on it, we respect that. We don't leave it on the floor. We touch it to our crown. We put it in a high place. And if you think about all of what he said, he was explaining just now about how things used to be written in gold, so if you think about the effort that takes, that even just writing a single syllable or a single letter, like A, or A in Tibetan, how much time that would take, just one letter, if you're making it in gold. So it could take like a whole week maybe, just to write like a couple syllables. So here, these days we have an overabundance of resources, materials, easy to get, too much excess, and everybody's busy, so there's not a ton of time. But really treating your Dharma materials carefully and cherishing them, reading them when you can find the time, to read and to contemplate. This is really an important part of your practice.
Okay, so now we start. So first page.
So are we doing, I think first the recitation,
Right, Tibetan.
Yeah, so first there's the recitation with the Tibetan. It should be at the top. It should be at the top of page 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Bound by time, even a king must die, leaving wealth, friends, and family behind. Wherever he goes like a shadow, his karma will follow him along.
Okay, so you read this first contents.
So the divisions, the different sections of reflection on karma, cause, and effect are first the concise explanation, second the extensive explanation, and third the summary.
Okay, so first one, someone read.
The
or
concise
hear or-
explanation, the chatsang, right?
네.
Okay, so somebody could read either online or here in the room. Would somebody like to read the concise explanation? Thanks, Beverly.
You want me to start with the karma, cause, and effects and the bullet points there?
No, the concise explanation, as the Buddha said.
Okay. As the Buddha said, whatever action that is done, its ripening will correspond accordingly and cannot be washed away with water. We cannot choose which karmic seeds we wish to ripen or avoid those we wish to avoid. Our experience will not manifest a certain way just because we want to do it. And yet, even with some understanding of karma, we often have an underlying expectation that we can control the outcome. Oftentimes, we engage in some seemingly insignificant non-virtue, or perhaps maybe even a significant non-virtue, and rationalizing it to ourselves, thinking that it's not such a big deal, or surely our good deeds will outweigh it, or that our overall good character will somehow make it not count. The Buddha taught that each and every act of body, speech, and mind yields a corresponding fruition, that every karmic action ripens individually without mixing together. Karma does not get lost, and it cannot be removed by some benevolent thing. The Buddha often used the examples of planting seeds. Whatever type of seed that is planted, it would bear the same exact fruit. We cannot plant rice and expect to harvest barley. Karma is the only thing that will follow us from lifetime to lifetime, and it determines our happiness and suffering, and this in future lives. The karma we create may not always be immediately evident. There may be some positive and negative outcomes that we don't see for a very long time, sometimes even for lifetimes. But the karma is still there and will ripen when the condition allows. Karma is said to be like the shadow of a bird. A bird may fly high in the sky and its shadow may no longer be visible, but when it flies closer to the ground, the shadow reappears. When we do not see the effects of our actions, we may think that somehow we have managed to escape the consequences, but there are many degrees regarding the same periods and ways in which karma will ripen. There is some karma that is instantaneous, where we see and feel the results immediately. At other times, the results are delayed. Sometimes we don't experience the result until our next lifetime, and sometimes not for many lifetimes into the future. In most cases, however, there is some aspects of karma ripening that we can always identify soon after the action, or at least within the same lifetime. Jigsim Sungam has said, results mainly arise as phenomena experienced in this very life. Oftentimes, it is experienced in the very same moment. For example, if we get angry and lash out at someone verbally or physically, or even when the anger is simply present in our minds, the experience of that anger is painful. We feel unwell both mentally and physically. Our mind becomes rigid and narrow, and it is intensely agitating and uncomfortable. We can also experience some aspect of karmic effects the moment we give rise to wholesome mind states or act on them with body or speech. For instance, if we feel love and compassion for someone, or with a mind of pure generosity, we make an offering or give something to someone in need, not only does it affect others positively, but it also brings a pleasant sensation to us mentally and physically. We feel relaxed and warm and open-minded. In our situation, we have lots of merit because we wished for happiness and we wish to avoid suffering, just as all beings do. But we are especially fortunate because we are accurately understanding the true causes of happiness and the true causes of suffering. We also have a path and method to follow to successfully create the causes of happiness and root out the causes of suffering. In this way, you can think, I am so fortunate because understanding the truth of karma, cause and effect, I have the opportunity to concisely apply myself in virtue. Reflecting on this again and again, on the truth of karma, cause and effect, contemplating in a way that inspires you to take every opportunity you can to practice virtue and avoid non-virtue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, lovely. So yeah, we 10 minutes thinking about or contemplation. Okay, you read the contents.
Okay, so then next we have the 10 non-virtues as the first part of the extensive contemplation. The 10 virtues: to protect life, to be generous, to uphold ethical sexual conduct, to tell the truth, to speak in a way that fosters harmony between people, to speak in a way that is kind and gentle, to speak in a way that is meaningful, to diminish attachments and cultivate a mind of giving, to cultivate loving kindness, and to foster confidence in the three jewels and faith in the truth of karma.
Okay, that's all there was. Less ya the some of the tango grace. That's a tanga to lunga less ya you do.
Wait a second. Sorry, so I've already noticed now a mistake here is what should be right just above the 10 virtues is the extensive explanation. So you can make a little mark there in terms of the outline. Okay, Youngchan.
That less ya the candy just so good is that thing at Haku. 다 leg 망보지 나토다 지 매직라베 동반다고 티니치는 딱고 메탈 physically pain 요러와 텔라 다 루지 레노지 차도 그러와 이네 틸리 누가 텔라 메탈 샘팜반다고지 베나 차샤위나 나토 판치도 치나 Inati punch tela kariyasana chechina 5 minutes this pain you say gre ina pen go bundo grace ina mithi na la ko same thing la yang ko nga dong song ko nga chi song sambachina ta ko mazo de sha do leji wata te nga so tindi ji wata leza no yores metalaji ta samba machi wan ro so yorwa.
So, when we think about karma, we can kind of think of it, and this is one way to kind of understand. So whatever karma we accumulate, and there's the physical action that becomes kind of the basis for the accumulation of karma. So take the example of, say, punching someone. So if you punch someone, then they're going to feel physical pain. It's going to hurt. And they're going to feel that pain with their body. And that's like the place where that karmic impact happens, or in the terms of that physical exchange. But much worse than the physical pain.
Yeah, maybe this pain maybe lasts, I don't know, not really big pain, maybe 5 minutes. Pain's gone.
Maybe not a big punch. Then in 5 minutes, the physical pain is there, but the physical pain dissipates. So much worse than the physical pain that you're giving to somebody is the mental pain. So there's the impact that it has emotionally or in the mind, like that person hates me and they punched me. And so there's this pain that happens on the part of the one who has been punched that lasts much longer than the physical pain. And so that is really the power behind the karma.
Create the karma.
That's what really creates the karma.
I think their stories, Tiniji yori labgdo, ngatsodi, Payuki dongjigwa, dongsenadis, Chang doja Nije Higmaris. In a semi-monic higres.
So kyang dogya na. Oh, chipchang.
No, Chang center the zebra, the zebra.
Zebra.
Oh yeah, zebra no Yorawa, brown, together. Kind of very wired. Not chipchang, but Chang la Chang.
So a gray zebra that they have in Tibet. What's that? There's sort of a zebra-like animal that doesn't have stripes. It's brown or gray. But now Dorje's saying it's a coyote, and Drupon is saying it's a zebra.
야 아니 왜 이나 양 콩소 와야 들어와.
But it's wild. It's a wild animal.
이나 양 너제 휴나 콩소 나기요 말이스. 콩소 간 요 말이스. 종요 말이스.
So anyway, if you throw a rock at this animal,
if hit it, right?
you hit it with a rock, it doesn't kill it.
No, doesn't keep it. Even though nothing big deal, nothing.
Nothing happens.
이나 양 코랑을 심대 요로가 도 휴송 삼.
But his mind, it affects his mind. He feels afraid.
They get die.
And he can die, this
That's the
animal,
story. I don't know
whether
the story
it's a
too or
zebra or a coyote or a wolf, it can actually die from fear.
Or not fear, I think maybe worry or I don't know. So tieni da ko sem ke nga zo leza ya del da nga zo lunga yi zom ki joba se ya de pe ma si ke chen bo da nga zo detail yung gro wa. Tieni da nga zo le se ya ji geve le yin bi na re me geve ki le yin ba re tieni tine ji pe na sem ke ji la khanza ji la pheng go na te thi ki le sa ndo go s. Yote ne pheng yo na re sek nyem bo chi ne pheng yo na re khandi na le sa grace.
So what this is pointing to is that the place that really becomes the impact, the karmic impact, is in the way that it affects somebody's mind. So, and of course, the intention on the part of the one who creates the karma. So with both virtue and non-virtue. So if there's like one moment, in one moment, for instance, with a virtuous act, you really brighten someone's mind, you bring them a feeling of pleasure or delight, they feel happy. If you really benefit them, even just in that moment of impact, giving somebody a gift, saying some nice words to them, that exchange and the way that it occurs on a mental level is really where the power of the karma lies.
So maybe we next to the speaking, coming up, but also this very the important, what called Kumuki samnola Muki samnola Dhamma course gre la body.
Miss Samlola?
I'm talking to you yours.
So
Pena yirke pangana kaya cheese but yirka inata ko meto Dhamma cheungro. Then now you got to Namton Dhamma Helgiores.
So in somebody's, so in the mind, it is said, there is such a variety and such a popping up of thoughts and intentions that happens constantly, just like the kind of popping up of a whole bunch of different wildflowers in the springtime in a meadow.
That tea into that telling out of the truth mindfulness. Some no tango grace. Not to say, Nam to a sharwa tegarana, ko lavia your maris.
So what we have to do is both work on correcting the thoughts that are arising and also being careful to act in such a way that those actions are meeting up only with the positive thoughts. So this requires mindfulness. So for instance, when a thought just arises in our mind, we refrain from the tendency, for it to just escape from our mouth.
So that is very important. Sometimes we can randomly, right? So we're thinking about if you're not really careless, but you're not thinking, be easy to say, right? Oh, that person is not good. or, you know. How easy to say, or just feeling, whatever I feel, maybe he's not nice man, you know, not good person. But seems to be not big deal, right? I think, or he's not good. But that is consequence later, he hearing that.
If that person hears that, if that gets back to them,
Right, so they how feel, how big.
how would they feel?
Okay. We saying maybe 20 once again, no pay attention or not really. Nothing, right?
No big deal.
Not big
Seems
deal.
like.
Right? Seems to be. But later on, how big become big, you know. Maybe very, very big, you know. Maybe white, or if not, even though like how he said, then he angry.
How sad that person,
Right.
he's
So
very
that's
sad,
why
he's
we,
angry.
I think, always like mindfulness, you know, particular speech. We have 4 speech different, right? So, so that's like we don't want to create the karma, negative karma. And then, actually, they said. I think this example is maybe already recorded. But some no cook race like that. Page yota, kankar palu utselas. That's okay.
It's okay, let's work it out. Gankar,
Palu utsela, riganlas.
Palo Utsela.
Or I don't know, floor or these flags on them and the yoris. In the Lamsan, catch of your maris, so come dig maris. Castle the take out, chin and dig maris. Cockers a logo dated and damada, you're serious, you're Rigan Tarchotini, Chichilam.
So Gankar Palo.
I'm main about the snow mountain, the highest mountain, Gala. A lot of hang the prayer flags, you're the Spain of Hana. In a thing to us that the randomly cannot take your maris. Kizichivina or consequence younger called the logo that he upset Chasigris.
Yeah, so there's a saying in Tibetan that's like a little bit more poetic, but what it means is, you know, if, like you can't just take down the prayer flags that have been hung at the top of the mountain peak.
Famous mountain peak something.
Or, you know, that are at the top of a famous mountain peak. Because maybe, you know, the local deities will be upset. The karmic consequence of taking down prayer flags that have already been hung, like on a mountain peak, is big. And in the same way, you can't just verbalize everything that comes into your mind. Not getting the connection, but you can't just say everything you think.
Right, you can't think yes.
If you do, then there are consequences.
Okay. So now we can read this one, I think. Someone?
Yeah, Beverly, you want to be the mic passer? Would you mind? Thank you. Would anyone like to read? Steve will
Yes,
read.
Steve.
Steve? The whole section,
Yeah, taking
to protect life.
particularly.
To protect life. To protect life means to look after and care for all living beings. It involves actively helping any being when they are in danger, especially when their life is at risk. The greatest virtue in protecting life comes from caring for your parents, spiritual teachers, and those who have shown you the greatest kindness. This practice can be extended to all creatures, big or small, offering a simple yet effective way to benefit living beings and accumulate merit. Consider the practice of protecting insects. Rather than killing bugs found in our homes, we can gently catch them and release them in safe places outside. Protecting life also includes helping others in dangerous situations, caring for the sick, elderly, or disabled, and adopting compassionate dietary choices that minimize harm to animals and support sustainable food systems. There are so many ways we can bring this accumulation of virtue into our everyday conduct. Reflecting on all the different ways that you can practice the virtue of protecting life, you can think, I am so fortunate because understanding the truth of karma, cause and effect, I have the opportunity to consciously apply myself in virtue, reflecting again and again on the qualities of protecting living beings. Contemplate in a way that inspires you to take every opportunity you can to practice the 10 virtues.
Okay, so now maybe 5 minutes contemplation. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so next one.
Would anyone like to read? Isaac?
I'll read if you don't mind.
Oh,
Okay.
wait. Okay, Lisa, go ahead.
To be generous, there are 3 types of generosity. Material generosity, the generosity of providing protection from fear, the generosity of Dharma. The greatest accumulation of merit in practicing generosity comes from continually making offerings to the 3 jewels, serving the Sangha, and helping those in need. Material generosity. Material generosity involves giving away wealth and material objects with a joyful heart, wishing to benefit others. This includes making financial offerings or donations, giving thoughtful gifts without exception of reciprocation, offering food, sharing your own belongings with others, sponsoring a child's education, covering medical expenses for someone unable to afford care, inviting someone to a meal, leaving generous tips for service workers, supporting disaster relief efforts with donations of supplies or money. The list could go on and on. There are countless ways to practice material generosity. You can get creative and take joy in cultivating this beautiful quality of the heart. The generosity of providing protection from fear. The generosity of providing protection from fear is very similar to the virtue of protecting life. It can also include soothing someone who is in a state of anxiety or distress, providing comfort to someone experiencing physical or emotional pain, or providing a sense of safety for others by engaging them with warmth, openness, and non-judgmental kindness. The generosity of Dharma. The generosity of Dharma involves sharing the Buddhist teachings with others. It is considered to be the most beneficial form of generosity because it can help lead others toward awakening. To be generous with Dharma includes sharing your own wisdom and understanding of the teachings to inspire others on the path. However, this must be done with sensitivity to the recipient's level of openness and readiness. True Dharma generosity is motivated purely by the wish to benefit others, not by the desires that bolster your own ego or create feelings of pride or superiority regarding your knowledge. The intention behind sharing the teachings is crucial. It should come from compassion and a genuine desire to alleviate suffering, rather than from a place of self-importance. The generosity of Dharma can also include introducing people to Dharma resources, sharing a book you've read, a recording of a teaching you've listened to, inviting someone to a Dharma event, sharing a beautiful tanka or Dharma item, or connecting someone with a qualified teacher. There are many different ways that you can practice the generosity of Dharma. Reflecting again and again on the qualities of generosity, contemplate in a way that inspires you to take every opportunity you can to practice the 10 virtues.
Okay, so 5 minutes. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
we can go one more, so 12, but we after lunch is the more sleepy, so maybe now maybe better now. So one more, so then yeah, we can start. So maybe a couple of minutes later you come lunch.
Oh, okay. So
That's okay.
Depending on when we break, we can have a few extra minutes for lunch. Okay.
Okay.
Isaac?
To uphold ethical sexual conduct. For those who have taken vows of celibacy, this refers to refraining from sexual conduct altogether. For lay practitioners who have not taken such vows, upholding ethical sexual conduct involves maintaining honesty and respect in intimate relationships. It means choosing a partner who is not already committed to someone else or committed to vows of celibacy. When in a relationship, it involves being true to your partner and understanding the karmic nature of the connection, and therefore doing your best to maintain the purity of that connection for the duration of your life. Reflecting on the importance of upholding ethical conduct and sexual intimacy, you can think, I am so fortunate because understanding the truth of karma, cause and effect, I have the opportunity to consciously apply myself in virtue, reflecting again and again on the qualities of ethical conduct, contemplate in a way that inspires you to take every opportunity you can to practice the 10 virtues.
Thank you. Was it 5 minutes? 따뜻한 것도 데려와. Also the contemplate chiwi kabla rangla ko inche mi ko ta tseng de lenga so memory no di na cha chang kharthin do samna degree zo che hyo ti nyomo khangche ngot pang song do ngalan di na la khari jong do samna tang go yo sarwa.
So while we're doing the contemplation, so it's not like we have to like read, like memorize necessarily like every word, but or even just kind of like read it again. But the important thing is to look, like read what is there, and then think about what in our own experience might be in contradiction to this. Like, so what is it that we need to change in terms of our own tendencies and behavior based on what we're reading?
Okay. Ore ta nyomo khanche ngot pang stala imbe. Ngara chong khariuna ta telefocus chi go.
Yeah, so focusing on our own faults, focusing on our own afflictive emotions, that we can identify, you know, and then really making a heartfelt intention to change those, right?
Okay.
To abandon those afflictions.
And also have some specific questions. So then, yeah, that's okay. Afternoon. Thank you. So short dedication.
Okay, turn to page 24. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drupon Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you. So come back to 10.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll be starting the afternoon teachings 10 minutes late because we went 10 minutes over. So we can return here at 2:10 Florida time. Those of you who are on Zoom, yeah, just 10 minutes later than the start time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.